spiral, the grand unraveling. But you didn't give them the satisfaction. Instead, you did the unthinkable. You vanished. Disappeared into the shadows without a trace, leaving them with nothing but questions and an unsettling silence. They expected you to crumble, to break under the weight of your choices, but you outplayed them all. You see, disappearing isn't about running away. It's about stepping into the unknown, where transformation is not just possible, but inevitable. You've slipped through the cracks of their expectations, and in that darkness, you've begun to reshape yourself, to become something entirely new. They thought they had you figured out, thought they knew what came next. But you tore up the script, abandoned the predictable arc they had written for you. The world they inhabit is built on patterns, on routines, on the comfort of the known. By disappearing, you shattered that comfort, left them scrambling to understand, to find the old you in the void you left behind. But the truth is, the person they knew is gone, buried deep beneath the layers of your own evolution. In the darkness, away from their prying eyes, you've begun to shed your old skin, to morph into something they could never have anticipated. Transformation is a violent act. It demands the destruction of the self you once were, the annihilation of everything that made you familiar, even to yourself. But in that destruction lies the seed of rebirth. They think you're hiding, cowering in the shadows. But what they fail to realize is that the shadows are where you gain strength. The darkness is not your prison. It is your forge. Each moment spent in isolation is a hammer strike, shaping you into a weapon, forged in silence, tempered by solitude. When you emerge, and you will emerge, you will be unrecognizable, a force of nature that defies all their expectations. Disappearing isn't about erasing yourself from the world. It's about stepping back, retreating into the depths of your own mind, where the real work begins. In this self-imposed exile, you confront the demons they never knew existed, battle the doubts that once held you captive. You strip away the layers of illusion, of societal expectation, until all that remains is the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. It's a painful process, one that requires a level of honesty most people spend their lives avoiding. But it is only through this brutal introspection that true transformation can occur. They wanted to see you break, to watch as the pressure fractured you into a million pieces. But you didn't break. You bent, twisted, and reshaped yourself, emerging stronger, sharper, more dangerous than before. Disappearing was never about escape. It was about metamorphosis. In the cocoon of your solitude, you've undergone a transformation that defies comprehension. The person you were is gone, replaced by something far more powerful, far more terrifying. They will never see it coming, never understand the depths of your change, until it's too late. When you finally reappear, it will be like a phantom rising from the grave. They will recognize the face, but the soul behind it will be foreign, unknowable. You will move through their world with a new purpose, a new power, one that they cannot control, cannot predict. The old rules no longer apply. You are no longer bound by the constraints of their expectations, no longer a puppet in their petty games. You've become the master of your own fate, the architect of your own destiny. So let them wonder where you went. Let them speculate and fear what you might become. In their confusion, they reveal their own weakness, their dependence on the predictable. Meanwhile, you move in the shadows, disappearing, you've done the one thing they never expected. You've changed things, not by action, but by absence. And when you return, you will be a living testament to the power of transformation, a reminder that sometimes the greatest change happens in the silence of our own making. Ah, the delicious irony of it all. They think they need to see every step of your journey, to witness your every move, to understand your transformation as if it were their right. But that's where they're wrong, fatally so. The true alchemy of change, the dark art of becoming something more than they ever imagined, lies not in the public spectacle, but in the quiet, the private, the shadow work that no one ever sees. Silence is your ally, privacy your fortress, and in the shadows, you find the key to a transformation so profound, so irreversible, that it leaves them trembling in its wake. They crave noise, visibility, the validation that comes from others bearing witness to their progress. They need applause, recognition, as if that somehow cements their growth, but real growth, real sustained evolution. It doesn't happen under the blinding lights of public scrutiny. No, it happens in the dark corners where no one dares to look, where the soul is stripped bare, and all that's left is the raw material of your existence, waiting to be molded. Silence is not an absence of sound. It's a sanctuary, a space where the mind can finally breathe, where the deepest work is done far from prying eyes. Privacy, the most underrated and misunderstood of powers. They see it as secrecy, as something to be wary of. But privacy is the crucible in which you forge your true self. It's in this sacred space, away from the judgmental stares and the incessant demands of the world, that you confront the aspects of yourself that you can't show to anyone else. The shadow work, as they call it, the peeling back of every layer, the dissection of every flaw, every fear. This is where the magic happens. This is where you transform weakness into strength, doubt into unshakable resolve. They're terrified of the shadows, equating them with fear, with evil, with everything they don't want to face. But you understand the truth, that the shadows are where the real work is done. In the darkness, you find clarity. It's where you can dissect your failures without the sting of judgment, where you can embrace your darkest desires, your deepest fears, and transmute them into something powerful. The shadows are where you find the parts of yourself that the light would burn away, the parts that make you whole, that make you formidable. In this silence, in this privacy, in the shadow work, you are not just growing, you are evolving into something they cannot fathom. They can't track your progress because they can't see it. And that terrifies them, doesn't it? The idea that you're out there in the dark, becoming something beyond their comprehension. It's not the visible change that scares them. It's the unknown, the invisible forces at work in the depths of your being. They fear what they can't see, can't understand, can't control. You see, growth that happens in the light is fragile, dependent on the approval of others, on the fleeting satisfaction of public acknowledgement. But growth that happens in the silence, in the privacy of your own mind, in the shadows, that growth is unbreakable. It's sustained, rooted deep in the core of your being. When you finally emerge from this cocoon of darkness, you do so not as a more polished version of your old self, but as something entirely new, something that defies their expectations and shatters their illusions. They want you to be loud, to announce your progress, to seek their validation, but in doing so, they reveal reliance on the superficial. You, on the other hand, have embraced the darkness, the quiet, the privacy of your own thoughts. And in that embrace, you have found the key to sustained growth, to a transformation that cannot be undone. So, let them talk. Let them speculate about where you've gone, what you've become. Their noise is irrelevant, their opinions meaningless. You know the truth, that in the silence, you found your voice. In the privacy, you found your strength. And in the shadows, you've become something more, something they will never understand until it's too late. When you finally choose to step back into the light, it will not be as they expect. You will not be the person they once knew. You will be the embodiment of all their fears, all their doubts, all their insecurities. Because you've mastered what they could never grasp. The power of silence, the sanctity of privacy, and the transformative magic of the shadows. Ah, silence. The profound, the eternal, the one true voice that resonates through the void, untouched by time, untainted by the cacophony of existence. Silence is not merely the absence of noise. It is the presence of something far greater, far deeper than anything the human mind can fully comprehend. It is the voice of the universe itself, speaking in a language beyond words, a language of pure, unfiltered truth. When you embrace silence, you tap into this universal language. You align yourself with the very pulse of existence, hearing what others cannot even begin to perceive. The universe, in all its vastness, speaks in silence because it understands the futility of noise, the limitations of speech. Words are human constructs, fragile and fallible, often twisted and misunderstood. But silence is incorruptible. It holds within it the infinite possibilities of creation and destruction, the quiet, unassuming power that can move mountains and shape worlds. It is in the silence that the universe reveals its secrets, its mysteries, to those who are patient enough to listen, to those who can withstand the weight of its truth without flinching. To disappear is to align with this divine trait, to step out of the human game of attention and approval, and into the realm of true power.